Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So, shout out to 78. I got the video from 78 and I pulled it. I think he got it from Black Fight Fan. Give them guys some credit. Man, this is so much deeper than what we see on our computer screen or where you're looking at it, your telephone screen, whatever it is. It's so much deeper than this. And you know what this reminded me of? Remember New Jack City when Christopher Williams got stabbed in the hand and he wanted to prove a point to him? Remember that? That was yeah, I let me tell you guys something. You guys, we disagree about how black men should raise their children. This is a prime example of if Adrien Broner, I mean, see, I'm speculating, and I hate to speculate on how people raise their kids. So I'm going to say this. My son will never, ever be put in that position. Never. You know why? Because he believes his father is Superman. He believes his father can help get him in and out of everything in life. And the way America is emasculated, I'm going to go above what we see on screen. All right. The way America is emasculating our black men, you see Adrien Broner in some fucking high heels and them, beyond tight clothes, pants halfway off his ass. Multiple kids by multiple women. This shit has got to stop, man. This shit has got to stop. And if you are idolizing a guy like Adrien Broner, you need to stop right now. If your son or daughter is a boxing fan and is idolizing Adrien Broner, you need to cut that shit out right now. And I'm being dead ass honest with you. Because no man on that's like some drug, that's like some drug dealer type shit. You know what I mean? Like when you owe a dude money and you take him away and you embarrass him in front of the other people so they don't rip you off, or that's some street shit. In my eyes, I've never been a part of the streets. I got a couple of cousins doing life that I've only had my ear to the streets. I've never sold drugs, did drugs, anything like that. But from what I hear and from what I saw, in front of them bodegas in New York, this is not cool, man. And this is the bottom of the barrel. He was suicidal last year, but no fighter should respect him. And getting back to what I said, if your child idolizes or sees Adrien Broner as their idol or their favorite boxer, favorite athlete, you need to dead that right now. You need to dead that right now. Dead that right now, because he is not an example of what a man is. And that's just plain and simple. And this is the same shit I will tell Adrien Broner to his face. Not in a malicious way, as a grown man, as a teacher talking to his son, but I'm talking to my 9,000 subscribers right now. Do not allow your kids to look up to a man like Adrien Broner. I don't care if it's in basketball, baseball, soccer. They are not worthy. Please, because it bothers me because, it reminds me of being a teacher and shit like that. I'm getting goosebumps and shit, and I'm getting really emotional about this because I pride myself on being a man. I need help every now and again. Don't get me wrong. But I will never ever downgrade myself to the position of I am on my knees in front of a man's zipper in his pants. I will never downgrade myself to that. I wasn't always successful. I wasn't always, quote unquote disarticulate. I was that nappy headed kid on welfare without a father. And to see a black man and Floyd Mayweather emasculate another black man on live on, Floyd Mayweather is a separate video that I will do at a later date if I have time. If I can, if I this video is going to be a series for me because I need to reinforce how important it is for you guys to be fathers. And if you're not a father, like, you shouldn't subscribe to my channel because I'm going to make you feel less than a man. Or if you're working on being a father, you should subscribe because there's no place in there's n- there's no place for that, And something is lacking in Adrien Broner. I heard 78 talk about homosexual tendencies. Moreover than that, 78, he came out the oven too soon. He's a half-baked cake, half-baked cornbread. He wasn't fully developed. And that's what I want to do to my son. I want him to be fully developed when he gives me his house key and he says he's going to college or going to get an apartment somewhere, hopefully going to get a house or going to buy a condo or something like that. When he hands me my key, when I'm 65 years old, I hope that we took him out the oven at the right time. I pray to God that when adversity hits my son, he can lean on two things: his strength and knowing that his father supports him 100%, and his father does not allow him to be downgraded like this. No way. And I'll speak from personal experiences. I've had gay men, I have straight men come up to my son. I have a beautiful son. And when I say beautiful, he's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And I've had 4 or 5 men walk up to me. And I don't know if they're gay or if they're straight, but I'm very protective. They want to represent him. Oh, your son is amazing looking. He should be doing commercials. And I'm always like, hold up. No, hold up. Time out. We're not going that route. You know what I mean? No way, no how. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just, and this is what gives me validation of who I am as a man. You know, the same things I say on the internet is the same things I will say in person to it. I mean, you have to deliver the message in a certain type of way so you can get progress. You know what I mean? Sometimes you on the internet as you raise your octaves because you want to shock jock and you're talking to your audience. But, I about 2 years ago, I put out a video to Adrien Broner, and that video still permeates. It's still relevant today. What I did on Dante's Boxing Nation, on Dante's channel, man, it's still relevant to this day. It's still relevant. Huh. It's sad, man. It's sad when I see a man that quote unquote has that much fiscal power. Okay, I'm coming. That can't. It's it's not cool, man. It's not cool. It's not cool. And you can make a case for Floyd Mayweather. Why is he doing this? I but Adrien Broner, to allow yourself to be emasculated like this, man. And this is why I love doing videos about being a proud black man. I am unwavering on being a black man. In the boxing media, from the top to the bottom, they know when Frederick Hawthorne comes in. All right, he he they know when Frederick Hawthorne walks in that room, his objective is to uplift black athletes and one, to be a man. I'm going to be a man at the end of the day. Like I said, I'm a gentleman in a situation and I'm a gentleman outside of the situation. That's why raising my fist is my last option. So it's just imperative that we become great men, and if we create children, become great fathers. Mm. So it's imperative that we do this. Ironically enough, my son just distracted, wanted me to help him do something in this video, but I'm back now, and this is this is our culture. See, the reason why. Okay, let me digress. This is Adrien Broner represents so many millions of kids in our America today. So many, man. And it worries me that when I'm 60 years old, we're going to have more men with their pants halfway off their ass than holding briefcases. Figuratively language. I mean, you can make money not holding a briefcase, but for the visual that you guys see. Huh. And you guys say I'm hard on Adrien Broner. It's too, man, it's almost too late. It's almost to the point where see, I'm not looking at this from what's happening on the screen. I'm looking at this as in the bigger picture of things, man. Black men, we got to do better, man. Like, I don't know what's going on between Floyd and Adrien Broner. I have no flipping idea. But that 1 minute video is an example of where our young black men are going if we don't act like men and fathers before them. It takes a village, y'all. You know, hold yourself accountable to say 2 or 3 positive comments to a black kid every day. If you Mexican, if you're a Mexican man, do the same thing for the Mexican kids in your neighborhoods, man. You know, because uh, it's more empowering when a black man tells a black child, when a Mexican man tells a Mexican child. You understand what I'm saying? I was a school teacher, so I know it took time for them gangster Mexicans to. I'm sorry if that sounded a little bit auspicious, but when I had some teen Mexican gangsters in my classroom for within the second or third year, they were on Team Hawthorne, like for real. And I shared the story with you guys about this Mexican gangster that saved my play. We were working on a play for 3 months, first play in school history, and I thought we was on scene 11, and we was on scene 10. I had the props off of scene 11. The Mexican gangster, in about 10 seconds before the curtains open, changed the scene back to scene 10, and it saved the play. But man, we need to. I This worries me, man. This literally worries me, and the reason why I'm really, really emotional about it is because I embrace being a father. Like I adore it. You know, you have no idea how much I love being a father, man. I love knowing. I believe in my inner core, my inner belief so much that I believe my son is going to be a great man someday. I don't know if he's going to be great. The only way I will know if he's be great is when he steps outside them doors, when he hands me his keys. He's not strung out on drugs. He's not in the club getting belligerently drunk every night and you know what I mean doing God knows what. That's the only way I'll know if what I did was great, and I believe it. And then we get to the LeVar Balls and for most recently, I did a video on LeVar Ball, Kenny Porter. Would you rather have a child come up like, for what we know thus far, Sean Porter, Lonzo Ball, or do you want Adrien Broner? Now, we've had great examples. Well, for example, look how I know Shane Mosley is not the fighter he once was, but look at Shane Mosley. I mean, he's made some bad decisions, but him as a man, like you won't see him doing stuff like this. Roy Jones, you may disagree on his personalities and some of the things he's done, but him as a man, his father was in his life, and to my knowledge, was tough on him. Now we look at men, we look at people in our society like that don't have fathers, you know? So man, I just this is worrisome for me, man. I don't look at it as just Floyd Mayweather and Adrien Broner. Floyd Mayweather makes Adrien Broner look like a bitch. I don't see it in that light. This is a microcosm of what our America will be if we continue to allow our kids and our children to look up to athletes like this. Do whatever you have to do. Do whatever you have to do to change your child's paradigm on their favorite athletes. You know, LeBron James is a great example of that. J.J. Watts is a great example of that. You know, and I mean, on the outside looking, I don't know them personally, but I'm saying how they're projected on TV. You know, uh, do whatever you have to do. Change your face. If you know your favorite player, I mean, change your favorite team for the sake of your child. Lie to them just because you know that they're going to love basketball. Because ironically enough, truth be told, children follow their fathers, man, in sports and everything. If you go to any pickup basketball game anywhere in America, man, why you like the Knicks? Oh man, because my dad loved the Knicks, man. My dad was a Bernard King fan, Kiki Vandeweghe fan, whatever, Patrick Ewing, whatever the case may be. Like I love the Yankees. The reason why I love the Yankees is because my grandfather's house was the home of salvation, where everyone went to regroup, and you have drugs and everything running rampant in my family, but none of that happened in my grandfather's house. And my grandfather stayed up late every night, fell asleep watching the Yankees. And that's how I became a Yankee fan. I was a Mets fan because who didn't love Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden in the 80s? And because I hung out with my grandfather, it flip-flopped. Now I'm a diehard Yankees fan because of that. And I'm force-feeding it to my son. But I learned something today, too. I have a young child. I really, really learned something today looking at Adrien Broner and Floyd Mayweather. I never I never knew, well, not never knew, but I took for granted the power of athletes. What I'm telling you guys now, it's a cathartic experience for me because I have to hold myself accountable to make sure that my child becomes a fan of an athlete that I can say, well, at least on the outside looking in, he has his stuff together. If I have to lie and say, uh, I have to be a Washington Redskins fan when Darrell Green was in the NFL. I'm taking you guys back, but he was an upstanding, to my eyes, he was an upstanding person. You know, I don't know what he was a demon if he had any demons, but this is a long video, man. I apologize. It's probably gonna be a 20-minute video, but this bothers me, man, to the core. Bothers me to the core when I tell you this. Anyways, man, this is not just about Adrien Broner. This Adrien Broner is a microcosm of Black America today. All right, and that's why I applaud the LeVar Balls. Reggie Theus. I told you guys in another video. Reggie Theus told me this a long time ago. He was recruiting one of my kids that I've had. He ended up going to the NBA. Ended up playing for the Dallas Mavericks this year. And I wish I could have recorded that fucking conversation. When Reggie Theus, who's my mom's neighbor, lives down the street from my mom, um, came up, called me and said, okay, let me digress. Reggie Theus and I were we were at odds ends about this kid, over some other stuff. Like he threw knives at me, I threw knives at him. For 4 years, for 3 years, 4 years, whatever, right? And I've seen Reggie over the years because he's in the neighborhood. I see him sometimes, and he calls me And he says, I just wanted to call you and tell you you did a hell of a job with that kid. The kid name is Jonathan Gibson. He finally made the NBA. He played overseas for 8, 9 years. Feel free to Google him. And this was a kid I've had since he was a little kid, right? Since no, not a little kid. He's like 13 or 14, freshman in high school, and I've had him from that point on. And he told me, and when your adversary comes back and tells you you've done a hell of a job, it gives you validation, you know. And Reggie Theus called me and said, I just want to tell you, you did a hell of a job with that kid, man. I said, I had to protect him. You know, it was my responsibility. The mother and father didn't know everything about this game of basketball and how it can eat you up, especially if you're a talented kid. And it was my job. He says, man, I just want to call you and say thank you, because he didn't have Jonathan's new number. And so I gave him Jonathan's new number. And obviously he called him. And but I took great pride in that conversation when Reggie Theus called me. You know, and Reggie Theus is an LA legend, borderline NBA Hall of Famer, you know, right on the cusp. You know, but I think Michael Jordan, that Michael Jordan stuff might not get him in. You know what I'm saying? You guys gotta Google that stuff. But you know, it's validation. And that kid is an upstanding kid, you know. No tattoos. I told him, don't ever fucking get a tattoo, because people will identify you by that. No matter how great you are, you take off your shirt, oh, that's, you know, you just don't know. And you don't want to start a slippery slope. You know, he got his ears pierced. I tell you, you shouldn't get your ears pierced. Just be a gentleman, you know. And everything that I've put in that kid over that 15 years, that he's about 30 now, 15 years, he's a millionaire now. He's married. He's doing the right thing. He lives in Vegas. He's saving money on taxes. Genius kid, you know. And he saw how frugal I was, how disciplined I was financially. And I applaud that kid to this day, man. We don't talk as much now because he's a grown man, you know. But if he ever had a problem in life, I know I would be his second person to call. He would call his mother and father. And I don't want to leave that without, too. He has a mother and father at home. You know, that reigns supreme. It's so important, man. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but that bothers me, man, because you guys know how important it is for us to be black men. You know, anyways, man, I'm gonna cut this video short. I'm gonna do some more on this at a later date. But anyways, Barbershop Conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, and to be continued. Talk to you soon. Peace.